Section 1.3 covers modeling with linear functions, and it's containing equations that represent points that are in a linear grouping. So the two equations that you may have seen before is the slope-intercept form, where you have y equals mx plus b, m is the slope, and y-intercept is the b. The other form is where you have a point and you have a slope, and you would put those in this equation. A lot of students just prefer to use that first equation, and with that equation, you may have to find out what your m is, your slope, and remember that equation is the change in the y's over the change in the x's, keeping the order the same. So the types of questions that you can have with these equations is where you're given information, and the question is, what's the equation of the line? So in this particular problem, you're going to see that you have a y-intercept at 0, 18. That means that your b is equal to 18 without having to find your b. Also, you can use these 2 points in finding what the slope is. So your m is going to be, I like taking the larger y first, subtracting off the smaller one, and then just keeping the order the same. 0 minus 10. So this is going to be a negative 3/10. 3 over negative 10, negative 3/10. So at this point, you can say the equation is y equals negative 3/10 x plus b, which is 18. X is the number of payments, y is the balance. So interpret the slope. Slope is going to be, for every payment, it is a change of a negative 3/10. And so the question here is, interpret the slope and the y-intercept. The y-intercept is at 0 payments. At the beginning of your payment schedule, you have a balance which is $18,000, 18,000. So the question next is, what is the remaining balance after 36 payments? You would just say y equals negative 3/10 times 36 by substituting that in, and by using a calculator, you would see that you end up with 7.2. So it would be $7.2 thousand. So 7.2, which means $72,000. 1, 2, 3. Correction. That's going to be $7,200. Multiplying this by 1,000, or 3 decimal places to the right. All right, so now the question is going to be, what happens if you have just information in a table like this? How do you get the equation? Now, you can see that this is going to be going up by 300 each time, and this is going up by 25 each time. So, first of all, you can get your slope, which is going to be constant in here. And so I'm just going to choose the first and last because it's easy with 100 and 200. So it's 2,700 minus 1,500 over, and then it's going to be 200 minus 100. And that means that the slope is going to be 1,200 over 100, which means the slope is equal to 12. All right, so that's the first part. Then what you can do is say, well, I can use y equals mx plus b now to find my y-intercept. So I have a point, let's just use the first point, and it's going to be 1500 equals 12, the x is 100, and I want to find out what my b is. And you can see that your b is going to end up being 300. 1200 here, and then if you subtract the 1200 from both sides, you would have 300. That means that the equation on this is going to be y equals 12x plus 300. Notice on an equation, you always have those y's and x's in the equation. And then you would, the next question is, well, what happens when the students would be when the cost would be the same? How many students would it take? In other words, what you're doing is you're comparing the two venues of this rental, and you're trying to figure out when they are the same. Now, to do this, you would just set both of those equal to each other. And so y equals this and y equals that, so this is equal to that. So it would be 12x plus 300 is equal to 10x plus 600. All right, keeping the larger x's on one side, 2x plus 300 equals 600. 2x subtracting 300 from both sides. You're going to see that x is equal to 150. So the answer is 150 students would make it where this fee, this cost, would be the same as the other cost, which is in the table. All right, so again, using y equals mx plus b in either a table like this, or you could use it off of a graph in order to find out equations and then answering the questions based on your new equation.